So tonight we're here, we all know why we're here. We have an opportunity tonight to create peace for ourselves and find a way to do more for those we're here for. I'm going to quote someone here. There comes a time when silence is betrayal. That's Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He once declared that. Tonight's vigil is going to be all about breaking that silence and beginning the path of ending America's betrayal of her promises. The Reverend Jesse Jackson also said it well. Quote, "America is not a blanket woven from one thread, one color, one cloth." So tonight is about standing in hope to inspire ourselves and others to do more, to honor and to heal the very tapestry of America. One more quote by Janet Mark. She once remarked, "I believe that telling our stories, first to ourselves and then to one another and the world, is a revolutionary act. Our ability," end quote, "our ability to create change in this world is dependent on our ability to create change in ourselves first." We plan to be true to ourselves because none of this is normal. So we need to accept that this is not normal and work to change it. The only way to do that is through honesty to the stories that will be told tonight, and honesty to everyone's voices, especially those most impacted. We cannot let those who would deny children and any of us the dignity of their liberty and of their humanity have any excuse to silence change. If our passions here are righteous. There's outrage, there's outcry, there are strong feelings. We should all be having them. Our goal tonight is to acknowledge all those feelings and stand in hope so we can create that peaceable solidarity that is required for real change to make this stay not normal and to make all of this crazy atrocity and torment end. To that end, I'm going to introduce our two speakers in order of their speaking with their own words. I'm just going to read their bios. So we have Joel and Sam, respectively. Joel is an educator and activist who calls Salt Lake City their home. Joel is passionate about supporting immigrant and undocumented families in Utah. From direct contact with ICE agents to supporting immigrant youth in schools, Joel has devoted their life to social justice in our community. And Sam Ortiz is a proud gay Latinx woman. She graduated from BYU in April and studied special education with an emphasis on severe disabilities. She is passionate about speaking up for those who feel like they do not have a voice, and her special interests are in Latinx people, women of color, sexual assault survivors, people with disabilities, and members of the LGBTQ plus community. So, no further ado, here's Joel.
Good evening, everyone. How are you? I am both humbled and fearful this evening. I am humbled by the love and care and compassion that so many of you are bringing in your minds and your hearts tonight. I am fearful because to stand in front of atrocities and oppression and deep human suffering requires of each of us not only strength and courage, but the ability to use our actions and our words to actually do something. I am eternally grateful to all of you this evening. My fear is less important than my courage, and my fear is most definitely less important than the collectivity and honor and compassion that all of you are bringing here tonight. Can we give each other a big round of applause? One of the things that I've learned throughout my life is the power of family. In Spanish, we might say, cuando estamos juntos, somos familia. When we are together, we are family. I want to welcome each and every one of you this evening into my family. I have seen wonderful people here this evening sharing their stories of their loved ones who are directly impacted by the things that are happening at our US-Mexico border. I've heard the stories of people who are unsure about the steps that they need or want to take moving forward. But most importantly, I've heard stories about people who continue to have hope. Hope that we collectively are capable of changing the world around us. Please give yourselves a round of applause for your collective hope. I reserve the right tonight to be emotional. I am emotional for myself and for the fear and angst and worry that I feel inside of me every day by simply living the life that I think is most authentic and truthful for me. I reserve the right to use language of compassion to remind us of what it truly means to stand in front of inequity and injustice and to say, this stops with me. But perhaps, and most importantly, I reserve the right to be emotional because I see people in the audience tonight who have been there when atrocities and injustice have been done onto me. And tonight, I want to share with you a story of immigrants, of family, of immigration. 10 years ago, imagine yourself in the Salt Lake City that was then. Things have changed quite a bit here in our wonderful and beautiful city. 10 years ago, I had graduated from the University of Utah with a master's in education, the very first one in my family to ever go to college. And I was worried and full of wonder about what it meant for me to move forward with my life. I began to work for an organization that calls its home in Westside Salt Lake City, a place where I continue to live today. I am surrounded by love and diversity and language and culture, and every day I have the experience of going to a store or a panaderia where people not only know me, but they openly express that they love me just as much as I love them. And that is the type of city that I live in. That is the type of city that I believe all of us are wanting to cultivate every single day. When I started doing my educational justice work in the community, I met a family. They became not only people who love me and care about me, but they too became people whom I love and care about as well. After a number of years of working together, I was with a beautiful mother of 4 children in our car, heading to the grocery store to get ready for one of our community events, the kind of event like this where people come together to honor one another. She received a phone call on her cell phone and immediately came to tears. Immigration was at her home. Immigration wanted to take her husband. We stopped for a moment, thinking about what it might mean for us to do something, what it might mean to protect the ones that we love, what it might mean to turn back around and say, you are not taking my husband, you are not taking my community, you are not taking my loved one. We went back to the house. This woman, this brave, courageous woman, went to hide in a field while I drove my car, passport in hand, with my privilege as a citizen, and went to the ICE agents and I told them exactly who I was. There were over 20 of them in front of this home of this loving, compassionate family who only came to the United States to have a better life. How many of you in this audience tonight are here because you too want a better life? As I confronted what it might mean for me to do something tangible, something of action, I let the ICE agents not only know who I was, but I ran through them, over 20 of them, to the front door of this home. I stood in front of the door, and they yelled at me and swore at me and said things to me that I never thought a person who's supposed to be of respect would say to another human being. I will never forget the moment when they said, if you do not move, you and this house is burned. The threats, the dehumanization of someone who's only in the community to do good was what I remembered from that very, very fearful afternoon. After what felt like hours of standing in the door, preventing them from going in, reminding them that they actually don't even have a warrant nor any legal right to be there, they finally left. As I constantly remind myself, I went to school to become a teacher. This is not what I was expecting. But unfortunately for all of us, we don't expect to have to do something except when we realize that what's in front of us is no longer acceptable. Okay? I also want to share with you another image from that home that wonderful afternoon. Well, I don't know if I should call it wonderful, should I? I walked into the home while the ICE agents were outside, and I will never forget this mothers and fathers crying children, their arms around their father's legs, weeping and sobbing in ways that any parent and any teacher would cringe at to hear their children doing so. And I reminded them that I would do everything in my power that day to keep them together and to keep them safe. We can now very proudly and with much honor say that this family is still here in our beautiful, beautiful city. And I also must say and honor them with the fact that if they were not in my life, I'm not sure I would be here today either. As a queer, two-spirit, indigenous person who was born and raised in Utah, whose family spoke English and Spanish, whose parents were migrant farm workers, who when I was a child grew up in Fruit Heights and in Willard Bay picking cherries and picking apples and picking peaches so that people could eat them in the grocery stores, right? I feel for me, I sometimes remind myself and the people that I work with that the most American thing that you can do is to actually work for what you have. Because of who I am and who I've chosen to be, my journey to authenticity, to vulnerability, to emotional just integrity was done so because of this loving family and because of so many people just like yourselves. People who believe that the world is capable of being better. People who believed in the power of one another. But most importantly, someone like me is able to speak here tonight and to survive and thrive after all of it because love and compassion is what drove people to help me, to keep me alive, and to support me. All of you do that every single day. Never, ever stop loving. As we move forward after this evening, I have two things that I want to share with you. One, always let fear be your guide. Remind yourself that when you are afraid to say or to be or to do, it's because your mind and your body and your heart are saying that something in front of you actually matters. When you walk into schools with your children, when you go into work every day, when you cross the street in downtown Salt Lake City or wherever you live, fear is ever present. We are afraid because we realize that maybe we have much more power than we give ourselves credit for. Never, ever run away from your fears, ever. The second thing I want to share with you is what it means to actually take action and to do something in this world. Many of you are familiar with the images of families and children at our border. Many of you have been part of conversations where people are grappling with and struggling with what to name what's happening between the United States and Mexico. Concentration camps, for example, comes to mind, right? We have to remember that part of our daily actions and part of us making a change in the world is being brave and courageous enough to call something exactly what it is. Calling it sexual assault, calling it racism, calling it white supremacy, calling them concentration camps, calling them deep and utter dehumanization. That is what we are dealing with. This work is not easy, but then again, anything that truly matters ever is. I want to encourage you to get to know the people around you this evening. Reminder to ask each of them what brought them here tonight, but most importantly, remember that you are worthy and capable of changing this world for the better. No matter who comes across your path or who tries to create a barrier for you, never, ever forget that everything that we have in front of us today, all the good, all the love, all the justice, is because people before us decided to take action. Thank you so very, very much for giving me this honor to speak with you all today. I want you to know that I'm available in person during this vigil to have conversations with each of you. I think the most important thing that I can do for all of us today, and that what we can do for each other tonight, is remember that we are in this together. Thank you so very much for bringing love and compassion to this stage and to this table this evening. You are needed and you are loved.
Hello everyone. As they said before, my name is Sam, and I am just so humbled to be here today with you guys. I almost don't even want to speak. I think Joel did the perfect job. I'm good to go. Let me just tell you a little bit about myself. So I'm pretty young, as you can tell. I'm 22, and I was born in the United States, but my family is from Puerto Rico, and I'm in a position of privilege because Puerto Ricans have United States citizenship, partly because the United States so desperately needed soldiers during World War II, not because they actually cared about us. But that's another story for another day. So, as I speak today, I just want to remind you guys that I'm human and I'm not perfect, and I'm definitely in a position of privilege because I don't have to wonder if I'm going home and mom and dad will still be there. I know they are because they're citizens. But that is a reality that many people face today. Many people don't know if when they go home, the people they love most will still be there. Many people are scared to walk the streets. They're scared to go to work. They're scared to go to school because they don't know what's out there. And all they see on the news is these ICE agents. All they see is President Trump saying that they're criminals and that they need to get out of this country. I mean, who wouldn't be frightened? I'm frightened, and I'm a citizen. I can't even imagine what they're going through. So, even though I'm in a position of privilege, I definitely do have my things that make me not so privileged. As mentioned earlier, I'm gay, and being gay and a woman and a Latina do not go well in America. America doesn't like the gays. America doesn't like the, Latino people in general. So it's a hard life, But I'm humbled because even though every day I walk on the streets and I have people yell at me, "This is America, you need to speak English," or "Go back to your own country, you do not belong," or "You don't deserve to love who you love," I am still surrounded by so much love. And part of that is all of you guys out here tonight. So give yourselves a hand. There is so much love here tonight, and I love it. Today, a complete stranger, Anna, gave me a light because I didn't have a light. And a bunch of other people just came up to me and just said hi. And that's just amazing. But anyways, so one thing I really want to mention goes along with this guy's sign. They are concentration camps. I really want to mention the fact that history, it's hard. And forgive me, I get a little emotional sometimes. If we don't know our history, it will repeat itself. And sorry, I'm a teacher here, so I have like a million note cards because that's just what teachers do. But I'm trying to find this quote. But basically what this quote is, it's from a survivor from the Holocaust. He was in Auschwitz, and he talked about the importance of knowing our history. And basically the words he said was, "It happened. It happened, and because it happened, it can happen again." So, kind of like Hoed said, we cannot be afraid to call it what it is. These are concentration camps. And according to the American Jewish Committee, a concentration camp is a place where people are imprisoned not because of any crimes they committed, but simply because of who they are. These children, these families, these people are being imprisoned at the border, not because they're committing a crime, but simply because of the color of their skin and because they wish for a better life. And that is unacceptable. I also call these concentration camps for the mere fact of the conditions of the people that live in it. So the fact that these camps are surrounded by armed guards, that's one thing. There is no "I can't leave" or "I can't revolt" or anything. There are armed guards ready and willing. In addition, there is lots of overcrowding. U.S. martial laws are being broken, and many humans are being stuffed into cages, and they don't belong. They're kids taking care of kids. And just recently, the Trump administration got rid of education and recreation for the children. That's another reason I call this a concentration camp, because children need recreation. Children need to run. Children need to play. Children that are Latino or of any minority are at special high risk for developing type 2 diabetes and many other conditions. And this is why it's so crucial for them to exercise here and now. In addition, speaking as a teacher, kids are so vulnerable. This is their time to learn, to grow. This is their time to learn English, to learn their native tongue. This is their time to learn English and, oh, I'm sorry, I already said that. I'm so nervous, you guys. This is their time to learn. Thank you, you guys are so kind. This is their time to learn math and to read and to become just how to become a basic human, their everyday life skills needed to become a human. And without these skills, these kids can't grow up to be productive members of society. They don't have the skills because their mom and their dad wanted a better life for them, and because of that, they got stuck in a cage without the right of an education and without the right of recreation. And so America is setting these kids up to fail before they have even grown into their own little person, which is completely horrible, and so many words that I can't even describe. So what I want to do is I want to take my position of privilege and my citizenship to speak up for those who cannot speak up for themselves, to speak up for my students, my DACA kids, my undocumented kids, my kids who come to me in tears asking me, can ICE come to school? My kids coming to me in tears asking me, does America hate me? Or do I really belong? And I will say to you what I say to them, everyone belongs. America is a beautiful melting pot. And I just want to point out all the beautiful different signs out here that suggest that America is a beautiful melting pot. We've got this sign here that says no human being is illegal. And that's right, we cannot be illegal. We're in this together. We have one earth to share between us. And we shouldn't be splitting it up by borders. We should be working together to improve humanity. I also love this sign over here, love is a human right. As someone in the LGBTQ community, that's very important to me. But not just to me, to the many immigrants who seek asylum. In many countries, these people who are seeking asylum, it is not safe for them to be LGBTQ. They can get murdered just for being who they are. And so they hope to come to America to be in a better place. I also love the Immigrants Are America sign. We're founded on immigrants. We have to acknowledge our history. No one here is legal. If we're going by the, you cross the border, you're illegal. Well, we should probably tell that to the pilgrims who came on the Mayflower. Fight ignorance, not immigrants. Racism does not equal patriotism. Nazis are bad. All of these, abolish ICE. This is not normal. Asylum is a human right. Immigrants are the backbone of this country. Without immigrants, America would be nothing. Without immigrants who pour their blood, sweat, and tears into food for this country, into the military to protect us, into just society in general. Immigrants, we're your teachers, we're your doctors, we're your lawyers, we're your government officials, we're everywhere. And it is time for us to be seen, not just being in the corner. I remember, I'm almost done here, I promise, I'm sorry, I'm taking forever. I remember as a little girl, my dad got pulled over, and I was in the back seat. And my dad has a darker skin tone than I do. And my dad simply asked why he got pulled over, which is a pretty fair question to ask. It's pretty fair to know your legal rights. And the police just took him away. And I'm glad I have my father back, but that was the hardest time because as a little girl, I could not understand why a person of color couldn't ask why. Why a person of color they automatically assumed we were doing something wrong just for existing. I will never forget that, and I will never forget all the people today that are simply existing, and they're being taken away from their families, and they're being put in cages. I don't know what the whole solution is, but I do know that together we can fight this, and we can make America great again, not President Trump. So before I leave today, I definitely want to point out one more sign, and I'll leave you with a quote. First of all, there's a sign that says, "Call our senators, Mitt Romney and Mike Lee." Pull out your cell phones, take a photo of this sign. Mitt Romney, 801-524-4380. Mike Lee, 801-524-5933. Call your senators. Let them know that what our government is doing is not acceptable, and it is not what the majority of the American people want. The American people want freedom. They want life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness for all. That's what America was founded on, and that is in our Constitution. And it is our right to uphold the Constitution and give life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness to everyone, not just the straight, white, cisgender people here. Everyone. Whether you're black, white, whether you're Hispanic, whether you're Asian, whether you're a Pacific Islander, it doesn't matter. Whether you're straight, whether you're gay, whether you're bi, whether you're ace, whether you're trans, whether you're cis. America is a land for all, and it's finally time that our government does something about it. So I love you guys. You guys are amazing. I want to leave you with a quote from Maya Angelou. Maya Angelou is was an amazing African-American author. And one of the favorite quotes that I have from her comes from a poem. And she says, "You may shoot me with your words, you may cut me with your eyes, you may kill me with your hatefulness, but still, like air, I'll rise." And I'll say it once again in Spanish. Puedes dispararme con tus palabras, puedes herirme con tus ojos, puedes matarme con tu odio, y aún así, como el aire, yo me levantará. Thank you. Gracias.
So, thank you to our amazing speakers. Equal thank you to everybody amazing who showed up tonight. and everybody who poured their love, not just into being here, but also into making all the beautiful signs and all the beautiful ways to show we care. Unfortunately, we're really running low on time. So, we've got 5 or so minutes until, unfortunately,
15, they said.
15 or so minutes. Update. Let's all. Anyone who who has lights you haven't taken out, go ahead and take them out now. Hold them high, and we'll finish the night standing with our lights. Thank you again, everybody, and super thank you to Super thank you to Power Dynamics for donating our awesome graphic, and super amazing thank you to everyone who showed up tonight. Thank you all.